Nearly 5 years after two pipe bombs were planted in Washington the night before the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol, a suspect is now in custody. Attorney General Pam Bondi says 30-year-old Brian Cole Jr. was arrested in Virginia this morning. On January 5th, 2021, two homemade devices were placed outside the Democratic and Republican National Committee headquarters. They did not detonate, but the FBI says if they did, they could have killed or injured people. Earlier, FBI Director Kash Patel blamed the Biden administration for not doing enough during the initial investigation.
We did not discover any new information. What we did, an investigation spearheaded by the deputy director and the ADIC of our Washington field office, brought in a new team of investigators and experts, re-examined every piece of evidence, sifted through all the data, something that the prior administration refused and failed to do.
Anna Schecter joins us now. She's the senior coordinating producer of the CBS News Crime and Public Safety Unit. What do we know about the suspect and why this arrest took so long?
Well, he's 30 years old. He was just about 25 when this occurred, allegedly, when he placed these two pipe bombs. We know he went to high school in this Northern Virginia community. In fact, we saw images of the sort of upper middle class home that he lived in with his family. He had a job. So it's just a mystery as to the motive, and we are still waiting to hear more about this now almost 5 years after the event.
So we don't know what it was that investigators say pointed them to the suspect, the evidence they re-examined.
That's right. Now, there could have been some DNA evidence. We haven't heard details about that, but that might have led them to this individual. You also had cell phone pings nearby. You had his car nearby, automated license plate reader ping on that plate. But generally, you need to have somebody in mind in order to gather this evidence. So you need to know that he was one of a number of people. And remember, hundreds of tips flowed in. And this all came amidst the chaos of the January 6th riot. So it was a very complicated case. Hindsight is 2020. But obviously, this took way too long, but it's still very challenging.
Is there any connection between the two incidents, the placing of the pipe bombs on January 6th?
That is the million-dollar question. We do not know if it was just a coincidence or if this man knew about the Stop the Steal rally and was placing them ahead of time, if he was inspired by some kind of ideology, maybe anti-Trump, maybe pro-Trump. We do not know at this time.
And we heard what Director Patel said. We also heard what Attorney General Bondi said and several other people said in that press conference today. Is there any evidence the Biden administration dropped the ball in this investigation?
This is a great question. What they said today is that no new evidence was introduced. So they
said it had been gathering dust.
That's right. And a fresh team of investigators looked at what they already had. And sometimes these kinds of investigations, they're hard to do. They're painstaking. You need that push. You need a boss telling you to go and figure it out. So we don't know what happened with the Biden administration. But remember, they also were looking for people who stormed the Capitol. There were hundreds of people charged. So this was such a massive undertaking with an agency stretched thin. That's the backdrop. That is what was going on at the time.
Anna Schecter, thank you so much.